All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the MMA Advocates presented by CrossBonesMMA. My name is Eddie Law. Of course, we got Dave Rodriguez out of ABQ and Fred Kirby from Ohio. I was gonna say the Ohio State, but that's fucked up. You can Dayton, Ohio. But it's a nicer spot, I'm assuming. Although I've never been to Columbus. What's Columbus like? Real quick.
What, did you mean Dayton's nicer than Columbus?
No, I'm gonna say it's nicer, but you rep it way more. I'll say that much.
No, believe me, Dayton's way shittier than Columbus. I just happen to be born and raised from Dayton, so you gotta rep your shit, you know what I'm saying? Columbus is actually pretty nice, actually. Dayton fucking sucks, but, fuck Columbus.
That's what I'm talking about, dude. That's the shit. That's why I fuck with you, man. You loyal as fuck to your city. It's all good. All right, fellas. Look, a lot of shit going down this week. Something sort of surprising, mostly not today with the Joe Silva announcement. Let's start off with actually what happened this last weekend. Condit versus Maia. Just right to the main event. Condit. I mean, look, it's kind of an easy fight for Maia. Did Maia even take any damage? I don't remember like if he even got hit. No, but Maia gets a takedown. Fucking Condit wore him as a backpack. He got
hit once.
Yeah, but look, Condit wore the backpack, got choked out. Fred, what do you think of the fight?
Listen, man, it happened quick as fuck, right? Like, Damian's got the ability to do that to anybody on any given night. If he gets you down within the first minute or two of the fight, you better be real fucking cool and play the defensive game until you can get away from him. Condit made one small mistake. Damian Maia is just that good. Really, there ain't a whole lot to learn from this fight, you know what I'm saying? Don't fuck around if Damian gets you down in the first couple minutes of a fight, or he will take advantage of it immediately. I think motherfuckers forgot a little bit how dangerous he is just because he hasn't finished a fight in a while. He does still have that ability, for sure. So, yeah, Damian's the shit. I don't think that Carlos should retire, though. Like, there's talk of him retiring. That's, he's still got some fight in him, I would assume, for sure. Unless he's just over it. But, like, I'm sure he can still compete. It's kind of like, you know what I'm saying, getting caught by Derek Lewis. If he punches you, you go to sleep. If Damian Maia gets you down in the first couple minutes of a fight, there's a good chance you get caught. No shame in it.
No, for sure. And honestly, like when Conor was saying, I don't know if I belong in this level. I don't know if he meant if I belong in the UFC, or he belongs in the UFC, or he shouldn't be fighting. And I mean, you know a lot more about this guy than anybody else, Dave. What was your feeling on when he said that he doesn't know if he belongs here anymore?
Yeah, everybody's really pretty much talking about that statement, saying, you know what I mean, it's kind of Carlos just being self-aware. It's coming off a real tough, where a lot of people thought he defeated Robbie Lawler and was the champion, going into fighting Damian Maia, who is known to be a dangerous guy and doing exactly what he did to Condit in impressive fashion. But we've talked about it before on the show. I know Fred's one to agree with me on this one. I'm definitely thinking Damian Maia is the guy that could take out whether it's Stephen Wonderboy Thompson or if it's Tyron Woodley. I'll take Damian Maia in both of those fights. I think just his style, it's tough to deal with. A lot of guys, can train the highest level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you get in there with that guy, and if he's able to, put you on your back, you're in trouble. I mean, if he finished Carlos the natural-born killer Condit the way he did, you'll probably never see Condit finish like that ever again. Say he does fight a couple more fights, but I think Condit does have a lot of fights still left in him. There's just a lot of fun fights. I mean, he's pretty much still in the top 10, ranked number 4. So there's a lot of cool, interesting fights they can line up for him. But I'd love to see Condit get back in there. Absolutely, don't want him to go out. Definitely don't want him to go out like that. But like Fred said, there's no shame in the way he went out because Damian Maia, that's what he does. He's the fucking steel trap of the welterweight division.
Right. It's not like Damian came in and knocked him out. You know what I'm saying? He took him down and submitted him. That's what the fuck he does. There really ain't no shame in that.
No, absolutely not. All right, welcoming in Jesse. Jesse, what's up, dude?
What's up, guys? I don't have the video up because it's too dark in here, and I'm already dark, so.
Nah, that's creepy.
I'll save everybody the joys of not just seeing my teeth flash every once in a while.
Too many racist ass jokes I can make. All right, and the premise we're the same. We're very pretty much the same on that one. All right. Well, Jesse, look, Condit. Well, let's actually switch gears here. We're talking a lot about Condit. Maia, dude. Maia is on a roll. The dude has hung around for a long ass time. It's one of those things where now you're wondering whether the UFC is going to give Maia the shot or Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. If you're the UFC, who do you give a shot to first?
I think you gotta strike while the iron's hot, as they like to say. I think you give it to Wonderboy. just because that's the more marketable fight. I mean, unfortunate for Maya, as it may be, but I think Wonder Boy is the guy to really put in that spot and really make it an exciting fight because, I mean, you think about it, Wonder Boy with his striking and, Tyron Woodley with his power and his aggression that he has been shown to have, I think it'd be an exciting style of styles, that would really make a good matchup. I think we know how it would go if they put Maya in there against Woodley. It'd be either Woodley knocking him out in the first round or basically Maya doing the same thing, just taking him down and then just choking him, half to death. So I think we need something to make that title championship exciting, and I think that's what Wonder Boy would bring. It sucks because, I mean, Maya even said it. I mean, he's old. He's getting to the age where he's not going to be able to do this at this level. His jiu-jitsu just translates so well to MMA, but there's only so many times you can do these training camps and get yourself in shape at his age before just it all kind of stops working. It just his body stops responding the way it has been. So I think the other good thing is that he hasn't been hit in his last couple fights. I think over his last 3 or 4 fights, I think someone put out a stat that he had been hit a grand total of 12 times or something like that. Shit, so, I mean, if he can keep that up, I mean, geez, who knows how long he can continue, in this run without getting hit like that. But I think Wonder Boy is the pick here.
Yeah, and you're probably look. That's probably the way they're gonna go, right? The UFC. I mean, if you guys have noticed recently, the UFC is way more interested in big fights, money, making more money and all that. They're not going to give as much as people want to see Maya, and they're not going to give him the fight because that's not really like a big fight, right? They're going to give it to Wonder Boy. What's up?
Maya doesn't necessarily deserve it on merit either. Wonder Boy just snuffed out fucking Johnny Hendricks and Roy McDonald. Who's got to win over Damian Maya? Listen, Damian Maya's next in line, Jack. Bottom line, Wonder Boy gets the shot. Damian Maya gets the winner.
There you go.
Yeah, and you know what, guys? Earlier, DSP, they had him in studio at UFC Tonight, and he was saying that there's 3 guys that are on his radar that he'd get up for. One of the guys is Damian Maya. One of the guys is Nick Diaz, who he's already beat. And the other guy's the champ, Tyron Woodley. So if you want to throw a wild card in the mix where McGregor could end up fighting GSP, where there's somewhat rumors of that happening, but just as early as this evening, GSP made it clear that, hey, those 3 guys are somewhat on his radar right now, I guess.
Can I respectfully say fuck his radar? Because you know what? Those are 3 dudes I don't want to see him fight.
Nope.
Him and Damian Maya, God respect them both, would be boring as fuck, just about as boring as him and Tyron Woodley. And the only person that can make Nick Diaz boring is GSP himself.
Yep.
100%.
Either give him a money fight or fuck all that noise, man. Let the welterweight division do its thing now. George, you've been gone for a month of Sundays chasing aliens and UFOs. Whatever the fuck you've been doing. Come back for a money fight or
Yeah. Well, let's kind of use it as kind of a segue. I mean, Dave just mentioned McGregor in there with GSP. Fred, who you think wins that fight if it actually goes down?
Jesus fucking Christ, is it even a possibility? Listen,
let's say McGregor, it is.
What? Who the fuck knows? I don't fucking know. George ain't fault since goddamn Moses wore short shorts. Conor shouldn't be at 170. I would imagine they don't make this fucking fight. If they do, who the fuck knows? I suppose George could hold him down for 5 rounds if he's anything like he was. But I don't know. That's a waste of fights there too.
I agree. I think it's a stupid fight to make.
Yeah, I hope they don't do that. That's a waste of 2 stars. What the fuck? That proves nothing. George is coming back after a really long layoff. We all know Conor don't need to be at 170. Jesus Christ. As much as I love Conor, he can barely handle Nate at 170, and Nate's not even a real 170er. What the fuck?
Yeah, that dude's a 155er. But
it'll be that fight, if they do it, it's just like a super cash grab of all cash grab in history for the UFC. But we all know GSP brought in the numbers. Conor's the new king. It's the only way I see them putting that together, possibly New York City. But there are some rumors and some talks out there that shit's possibly going down. So we'll see what happens because, the McGregor, whoever he fights, it's going to be big. We all know that. So everybody's waiting to see what's the real word on that.
Oh, absolutely. And look, as much as people give McGregor shit for running his last one, and look, we just get past that whole thing of how it actually went down. McGregor, even now, he's still a huge money fight. In fact, he might even be a bigger money fight now, right? So that's kind of what you want to do with him. So speaking of that, I mean, what's he going to do next? They're talking Alvarez at 155 for the belt. They're talking him defending 145. I don't think he goes back down to 145. Jesse, what do you think he does next? 155, or do you think he actually makes that cut down to feather?
No, I think he does 155 first. I mean, I think we talked. I mentioned it last time. I think the best way for him to do it is to go down gradually. He can't just cut down to 145, because if he does, he's going to be a diminished fighter, and he's probably going to get KO'd by whoever he fights. So I just don't think it'd be wise for him to just try to take all this muscle off that he's kind of built up, and this new body that he's kind of built up to withstand the 170, division, quote unquote, as he was against Nate Diaz. So I think the best for him is just to go to 155, see what happens there, and then if he can't do it, then 145 still waits for him. I still think he's still trying to get that 2 championship belt at the same time and be the first guy in history, whatever, to hold 2 belts in 2 divisions. So I don't see him going down to defend 145 anytime soon.
Listen. We all love Conor, but fuck a Conor right now. We're all waiting on bated breath for that prick. He'll do what he'll do. I tell you what, I want to know what you fucks think about. I want to know what you fucks think about CM Punk. That's what I want to know. What is this prick going to do? Who cares? I bet you care. You're going to be fucking
you're going to watch it.
Fight. You fucking care. Will he win his first fight or what?
No.
Is that fight positioned on the card? Is it way up on the card, like second, third?
It's on the pay-per-view.
What
the?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, if they put it on and it doesn't deliver, I mean, I guess if Mickey Gall goes in there and starches him, I don't know. It's a weird fight. Like I said, you guys know that I believe the fight still ain't gonna fucking happen. But somehow CM Punk's gonna make that walk here in a couple weeks in your backyard, in your territory, Fred, out there. So looking forward to seeing that card. But from what I've heard and from what I've seen in his training regimen and about stories about out of the Rufus camp and what are they, those smoker fights or whatever those fights that they get in the gym. He hasn't touched anybody or looked dominant against any of them guys, and it's pretty much I don't know. I see him getting starched pretty quickly. Maybe he lasts a round, but I think he goes out there and maybe he shows us a little bit better than what we thought. I mean, hey, maybe he has something up his sleeve, or he has a great game plan where he's able to get Mickey Gall down to the ground or something.
Yeah.
Here we go with that conspiracy theory, right?
Well,
it's just him acting, this whole time that he looks bad and he's gonna go out there and destroy Mickey Gall. No way, man. That's not gonna happen for sure. I think the best scenario we can get is that he gets choked out in like the second round. That's best case scenario.
Yeah.
Listen, easy, Jesus. You ain't Nostradamus, okay? You don't fucking know what he's gonna come out there and do. That's why it makes. Who the fuck is Mickey Gall? What the fuck died and made Mickey Gall so goddamn good? I tell you what, because you pricks are so fucking adamant that he's gonna lose, I am picking CM Punk. And I'll tell you what, I think CM Punk is gonna submit Mickey Gall in the second round. How about that?
That's right. You wanna wager your beard on that?
Oh shit!
You know what? That's right. I will. I'll bet my fucking beard on. I'll bet this CM Punk comes away with a win in Cleveland. How about that?
All right. Hey, just for that, you know what? Fred, you got to join us for the pick'em show for the pre-show. Absolutely. That way you can solidify your pick for sure, as well as the rest of the cards.
Damn. That you know what? Look. I gotta respect Fred for taking that pick, just because of the fact that we've seen Mickey Gall in the UFC already. He already has the UFC jitters off.
Whoa.
Against the writer.
Listen, hold on. Everybody kiss my ass. I'm saying something. Wait a minute. Listen, first off, he fought in the UFC. A little quiz here. Do any of you pricks know who he fought?
Yeah, Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Do you know who the fuck that guy was?
Yeah, he writes for. I know who he is.
There you go.
MMA Latest or something like that.
Yeah.
He writes. That cat was not a fucking fighter, Jack. He was not a fighter.
He had some amateur fights, though.
Oh, man, I've got an amateur fight in an alley somewhere. Amateur bite these nuts. He was a fucking wannabe journalist like the most of us. He got the opportunity of a lifetime. Mickey Gall barely had a real fight in the UFC. And CM Punk has fucking years of experience around big crowds. Fucking the Mixter does not.
Look. You're going to tell me that you're going to take that experience and translate it to the UFC where the whole pressure is on him. The whole pressure is on him to perform to his best. In the WWE, there was no pressure of that. He knew the outcome no matter what, whether he was going to win or lose. He knew what was going to happen in that ring. He knew that already. All he had to do was perform a show. There is no show this time. This is him doing what he has to do. Like all the skills that he's been learning from Rufus, he has to apply those. That's very different. And think about this, Fred. Even a guy that has a lot of experience doing the same thing, like being in big crowds and having a bunch of people cheer him on, in Daniel Cormier, even he said that he had the UFC jitters and they were real. So, I mean, I just don't think it translates. I just don't think it translates.
Listen, he's used to being around big crowds. That shit's not going to fucking make him nervous. He's rich. You do realize that, right? There's no pressure on CM Punk. Worst comes to worst, he goes back and makes more millions. I tell you who the pressure is on, fucking Mickey Gall. Because if he loses, he'll be picking up my trash on Monday morning.
He's probably already doing that, man. He's probably already doing that.
Most fighters
exactly. So he better not fucking lose. CM Punk loses, he's fucking nailing some Asian broad and getting paid fucking millions of bucks in the WWE.
He ain't going back to the WWE. They don't like that guy over there, man.
I tell you what, though, they take him back if he offered.
Star power, Jack.
Yeah.
Just imagine you guys are talking, like Fred saying he pulls out a win, in Cleveland. He knows how to work the crowd. He's used to big crowds. Imagine him finishing the fucking fight in the crowd on their feet for CM Punk.
I hope he does. I hope he does now. I hope CM Punk comes out and puts a fucking twister on that sissy.
Yeah, look.
Great.
Look, ultimately, it's a money grab ultimately because people are like, Dana White and the UFC are counting on this whole, curiosity and the CM Punk fans from WWE to come over and watch, right? So it's a ratings thing, it's a pay-per-view buys thing. Now, if CM Punk does win somehow, all right, does anybody really see him continuing to fight? Because to me, this looks like a one and done.
No, sure. If he wins, sure, I think he would take another fight, right?
Wait, Fred, you think if he loses, he won't take another fight?
Yeah. I mean, I do.
No, I don't. I think if Mickey Gall comes in and fucking knocks him unconscious, I don't think we ever see CM Punk again, for sure.
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
This is definitely, he needs to win this fight, and not only win it, but win it impressively, actually. I would say if it goes to a boring decision, we might not never see him again. Now, if he comes out and does something spectacular, yeah, I think he might try to fucking ride a Brock Lesnar-esque wave into the fucking MMA. It's the fucking point, right? He spent 2 years getting ready for this shit. It's not a celebrity boxing match.
Look, man, just judging off of what we've seen on the that CM Punk like thing that they're doing where they're following him around and shit, I don't see very much, man. I think a guy like Mickey Gall, who's solely been focused on MMA, has just leaps and bounds, a huge advantage on CM Punk, right? And rightly so. And to the point that Fred just mentioned, CM Punk is rich. He's got money. He's good. He doesn't have the hunger that Mickey Gall has. Mickey Gall wants that money. He wants that win. CM Punk, he's just doing this. Okay, like no disrespect to any UFC fighter, but he's doing this just because he's rich and he's able to. That's it. He's checking this one off his bucket list, and maybe he'll have another fight. I actually think he might have 1 or 2 fights in the UFC, if they allow him to keep doing it. Just because he'll be like, I lost this fight, I can do better next time. I'll get more training, But I just don't think that like his heart is in it as much as Mickey Gall's heart is in it. I think Mickey Gall is gonna come in with just hell and high water, trying to win this fight as quick as possible and put his stamp on it and be like the next Conor McGregor or whatever he wants to be in his own head.
Listen. At the end of the day, I'll tell you what this fight is. It's intriguing.
Yeah, I was gonna use interesting, the same thing.
It's interesting. Speaking of interesting,
What
what about that cute little broad Paige Van Zandt?
She fine as hell. Oh, well, the Karate Kid move? Yeah. That was nice.
What the fuck you mean she's fine as hell? That fucking kick she landed. First off,
Yeah.
let me just start by saying, I don't buy the hype, okay? The first fucking 6 kicks she threw, she fucking got nothing but air. Finally, she got lucky, and I'm not really buying into this whole her being some fucking dynamic new striker fucking type deal.
No, yeah. Let's slow down on the fucking hype, man. She kicked Beck Rawlings, okay? Beck Rawlings. Come on.
Yeah, let's give her all the credit for this win. I mean, she did get another stoppage win. She's got, 2 or 3 now on her record. Now, those are, there's not so many in that division. But what it really comes down to, fellas, I know you guys will 100% agree with me. Not on her best day or not on Joanna's worst day is she winning that fight. So it's pretty much Joanna just sets the bar so high, like I've said on previous shows. It's just she's a killer. And, I mean, who are you going to put against Joanna next? You know what I mean? Besides I mean, you throw what's her name? Paige Van Zandt's still very young. I mean, she could go on a 4 or 5 shot streak, or 5 win streak to actually, earn a title shot where people think she deserves it. But at the end of the day, it's going to be Joanna. And whether or not there's a 125 division that opens up, Joanna probably takes that title too as well.
Well, think about this. Think about Paige Van Zandt going up against what's the chick that just fought for the title? The Brazilian chick.
Gadelia?
Yeah, Gadelia.
Claudia, even against Claudia,
Claudia. Murder her. I mean, you look at everybody that's fought for the title in that weight division. I just don't see how Paige Van Zandt beats any of them. I don't even think she could beat what's her name, Cookie Monster. I just don't see how. Yeah.
Well, listen. She shouldn't be taking any of those fights. She shouldn't be taking any of those fights next either, though, right? I mean, fuck, she's what, like 10th or 9th? She can't be ranked too fucking terribly high. She should be.
Misha Torres called her out too, as well. I think recently.
Yeah, but you think about that though. Like pretty much everybody's gonna call her out right now because they want that star power off of her. Because she's just coming off Dancing with the Stars. She just did a big knockout on Fox, where there was a good amount of views, not as much as before. I mean, I think I read somewhere that this was the lowest rated Fox show that they've had in a while.
Yeah, terrible numbers. Yeah.
But still, people got to see her in action. So I mean, I think it's wise that everybody would just call her out right now and steal that star power away from her, because that's basically what she is right now. She's just that little shining star that people can rub up on and take that off of her.
Yeah, look, and again, she's not beating Joanna. She's not. Who's Joanna fighting? KK, I think.
Yeah, Carolina
Kowalkiewicz.
Yeah, Paige Van Zandt's not beating her either. Okay.
Oh no way in hell.
Not even fucking close. Okay, so she'll be the Misha Tate of this division for a long time. Except Misha Tate's way more skilled than Paige Van Zandt by a lot. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
What did y'all on that same card? I mean, what did y'all think of old Showtime Pettis at 145? Let's start with Jesse, man. Jesse, what do you think? What are the positives, negatives you could take from that Pettis performance against Charles Oliveira? And then what do you think Oliveira did wrong in that fight? It looked like he kind of was swinging his way, and then he dove right into Pettis. He knows Pettis is a finisher on the ground, so he kind of just made a small mistake there.
I'll tell you what. I think both of them did the same thing. They lost respect for each other. I think Showtime went in there, clipped him, and lost respect for Charles Oliveira's ability to hang in there and hang tough. Blew his load, and then he just looked completely tired and gassed out towards the end of the first round, pretty much the entire second round, and he looked like he was going to get his ass kicked in that third round if he didn't catch that guillotine at the end there. So I mean, not much positive, honestly, in that fight for Pettis, because we've seen everything he showed. We've seen it all. He didn't show any new tricks. If anything, he showed that his cardio just really suffered from that weight cut. That's pretty much the only thing I saw in that fight. I mean, because we've seen him catch that guillotine before. That's how he finished off Gil. Gil did the same thing, put the pressure on him, and then just Gil made the same mistake of coming in and trying to take him down. I mean, he's great at doing that, but if you don't give him that opportunity, or if you hurt him bad enough, and he's not all there, I mean, it's just not good, man. it's just not good for him. So I don't know, man. I think they need to take the Michael Venom Page route with Showtime if they want to build him back to being a star, and give him a little bit of some of the tomato cans at the 155 division, build up his confidence back, and get him in there. I mean, I don't like the weight cut to 145 though. He looked way too drained out for that fight, for any fight really. I mean, think about it. He's calling out Conor. I mean, that fight would be just horrible for him. Conor
First round knockout.
Pretty much kill him.
And Eddie, I mean, you practitioner, you're a jiu-jitsu guy yourself. What do you think? Oliveira, you think he just got a little too over aggressive in that third round? You think he kind of could have cruised a little bit? Kind of could have took that fight away from Pettis there in the third round. What do you think?
Well, first of all, someone just shot somebody somewhere near Jesse. It's goddamn. But duck, get down, Jesse. Fucking shit. They're shooting.
I'll tell you what. I'm on Crenshaw Street right now, so
get the fuck out of there. What the hell are you doing on Crenshaw Street?
It's the closest Starbucks I could find, man.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. All right. Look, man. Oliveira underestimated the fuck out of Pettis at 145 and his ground game at 145. To me, it was clear. Oliveira didn't look worried until fucking, good old Pettis fucked him, had it all, locked in. It was just, it was it, you know what I mean? And look, in jiu-jitsu, you can get caught. Anybody can get caught. I train every single day, and you'll see white belts tapping blue belts, you'll see blue belts tapping brown belts sometimes, right? And it's sometimes, most of the time when I see it, it's because I got caught. It's just what it is. Technique really overpower in jiu-jitsu, definitely. But look, Pettis' jiu-jitsu game is not bullshit. I mean, he fucking tapped Benson Henderson. Took his arm. When he took that arm bar, he twisted the arm a certain way. Remember, Benson had to tap verbally, right? Yeah. And nobody heard it. Like, Pettis let go of that arm, and then the ref stepped in like, hey, we waved it off, right? But if you notice, the crowd was like, what the fuck just happened? And just Pettis got up, started jumping up and down and shit, like celebrating, right? His ground game is legit. Oliveira's is more legit, but he definitely underestimated Pettis, Pettis in this fight and at 145. As far as Pettis' future at 145, I don't like it. I don't like that weight cut for him. The cut to 155 was already bad. This cut to 145, I mean, look, you guys saw all the pictures, right? He looked near, half dead and mostly retarded when he was doing interviews, and fucking just looked awful. Hell, someone was joking around saying that they were joking around tweeting a picture of his brother Sergio, and saying, hey, look, it's Anthony. Anthony's new body now that he's a 145er, and so I don't like it, but obviously he's gonna do what he wants to do, but I don't think he's gonna have much of a future at 145, man, especially not with that cut. And if he wants to fight, a guy like Conor McGregor who's a heavy-handed dude, that will be one of the quickest fights in UFC history, unless Pettis runs the entire time. But Conor McGregor will fucking knock him right out of the UFC, no question.
Well, with that said, I mean, let's go with Fred here. Fred, Anthony Pettis in the 145 division. Who do you match this guy up with going forward? And what's something like Jesse was saying, kind of give him the MVP route. Throw some candidates out there, Fred. Who do you think they got the Anthony Pettis lined up with next? I know he's trying to call out a couple guys.
Listen. First off. Let me just say that you guys are some disrespectful motherfuckers.
This motherfucker.
Okay. Listen.
Oh, God.
All he did was slightly gas in the second round and eat a couple jabs. Other than that, slightly, you mouthy prick, because he came out afterwards and he fucking submitted a fucking goddamn 10th degree black belt. So let me get this straight. He comes down and pretty much fucking trounces him in the first round, lands devastating fucking body kicks, which is what he does. And that's another thing, Jesus. I didn't see any new wrinkles. Well, what the fuck's he supposed to do? Turn into Brock Lesnar? He landed his body kicks. That's what he does. He fucked him up. And then he submitted the fucking submission guy. And you poor prick still ain't impressed? Yes.
Hey, and he's a brown belt too. He's not even a black belt. Give that man. Where's his black belt at? I mean, he's a brown belt.
He's a black belt in my eyes. He's got a submission over Gill, a submission over Oliveira, a submission over fucking Benson Henderson. These are not guys you submit easily. He fucking knocked out Cowboy with a fucking a body kick, right?
Yeah.
Of course. Lozon too. Yeah.
Lozon with a head kick. The dude is a bad motherfucker, man. This cut might be kind of bad, but come on, man. You guys are getting your panties a little too wet. We've
Oh,
seen
yeah,
worse
yeah,
cuts.
Wait.
Fights around 155.
Y'all had y'all's chance to talk. It's my goddamn turn. Listen,
Okay.
everybody said the same thing about Conor. Oh my God, look how bad Conor looks. Look how gross he is. And then you know what he did? He fucking slept Jose. Sung him a lullaby. Matter of fact, he sung everybody a lullaby at 45, looking like a creep. So
I'm calling PD.
No.
Just fucking with you. Go ahead.
We're talking Anthony Pettis.
I don't think that Pettis has to go. I think he's fine. And you got give him tomato cans. Are you motherfuckers sniffing glue? It's showtime, baby. And he just submitted the goddamn submission artist. Fuck no, you don't give him a tomato can. If anything, I would give him Holloway.
I was about to say that, Max Holloway.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Really? You really think Max Holloway would just walk through Showtime?
I think so.
I think you're sniffing glue on Crenshaw.
Wait, Fred. Here's the problem with that. Look at how he looked in that fight. Okay. After he gassed out in this fight, Pettis. Okay.
Oh, the one where he submitted the black belt.
He couldn't recover, right? Did he look like he did in the first round? No, he didn't. Wait. Now talk about this. Look at him in that RDA fight. He got his face broken. He was beat up.
A cheater.
Listen, he never gassed like that. He was still in the fight. He was able to recover. Still popped RDA a couple times. Still took one round, one of the late rounds. So you're telling me that guy at 155 is the same guy at 145? You're smoking the freaking glue over there, man. He's not the same guy. He's not going to be able to.
I'm telling you, based off of one performance where he submits Oliveira, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That was not a bad performance. It was a rather good one. And quite frankly, Max Holloway's style is low-key set up for Anthony to shine.
Wait,
I know everybody's sweet on Max Holloway.
Isn't that what everybody said when he fought against Edson Barbosa? Oh yeah, this is a perfect style for him to showcase his striking. What happened there?
Yeah.
Listen, different weight class and a slightly different style. Fucking Max is a box heavy guy. Edson's a kicker. Slightly different.
You know what's gonna sound. You guys are really gonna like this. Less than an hour ago, Anthony Pettis shot out a tweet to Max Holloway. All it said was NYC and 3 question marks. So
yes, do it.
It's already been. We're talking about it now. So if it does happen, then I'd love to see it.
If Conor's not coming to 45 and Jose doesn't have a dance partner, then yeah, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, Jose needs a fight, and if Conor's not coming back, then they should do Jose Max. Max deserves that shot. But if they can't do that. Right.
No,
and
go ahead.
We're talking Anthony Pettis. Let's touch a little bit about a guy who's pretty much forever tied to Anthony Pettis. He goes by the name of Benson Henderson. He's got a title shot in the works coming soon. What do you guys think of Benson? You guys all watched the Bellator stuff last Friday. You guys seen the pit bull injury, everything that happened, what Benson was talking post-fight. So what do you guys think of Benson Henderson going forward with this title shot lined up with Michael Chandler?
That's depressing to me.
Really? Oh, because of the injury? Because it's a Tyron Woodley-esque thing.
Depressing to me in the sense that, you look at Benson and he hasn't looked good in any of his 2 fights in Bellator. I don't know about you guys, but I really was not. I didn't think that fight was going to go his way had that fight kept going on. What do you guys think?
Look, it didn't look good for Pitbull. It really didn't, but it didn't look great for Benson either. Look, regardless of this, I thought, look, man, Jesus bailed on all those kids in Africa that are dying and starving and handed Benson Henderson a win at that point. Okay? That's what happened. Jesus came out of the sky and kicked Pitbull right in the fucking leg, ended his night, and Benson was like, thank you. Jesus, take the wheel. I win. That's that's all it was. Because afterwards, he went on some gospel-ass rant that I didn't understand half of fucking what he said because he got a goddamn toothpick in his mouth and shit. I was just like, and literally it went through, it was like a 5-minute long fucking sermon that he gave, and at the end of it, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? But regardless, Benson gets the win, and he's gonna fight Michael Chandler. Chandler's gonna fuck him up, in my opinion.
Listen, yeah. That's it. And Benson and God and Jesus, he always does this. It's enough with him and Jesus. We know, whatever. Jesus, take the wheel. Listen, I got to go soon. Before I go,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you guys about this Joe Silva thing. There's a rumor that Joe Silva is going to be leaving the UFC. Hypothetically, if that is true, do you think that this could possibly be one of the most detrimental things that has happened to the UFC? Because just jumping in there, personally, I do. As intricate as Dana White is to the UFC, I think Joe Silva's like that other guy, man. We've gotten very I don't know, used to Joe Silva making these fights and making these great fights, card after card, year after year. Yep. I think that this is something that's going to really bite us in the ass, man. Joe Silva knows what the fuck he's doing. And people like to fucking sit on their couch and go, oh, I'm going to line this guy up with this guy. But the reality is, over the last 5 to 7 years, we have all watched some really great fights, man. And Joe Silva, arranged a lot of those fights with basically his own knowledge. And every time we see a guy that gets a title shot and we're like, oh, well, who is that? Or that person doesn't deserve it. And then they come in and trash him, like Anderson Silva did to Chris Lieben many, many, many years ago. Mm. Joe Silva is that dude that knew what was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that lined that fight up, man. Joe Silva is a very, very important part of this operation. And if he leaves, like everybody says he's going to, I think it could be really bad for the UFC going forward.
Let me say something real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
This is the first time I think I'm ever going to agree with Fred on something.
Oh, shit. You are smoking. You are eating glue, sniffing glue, whatever you're doing.
Well, I'm in Crenshaw, so what can I do?
When in Crenshaw.
Yeah, got to join the crackheads. Anyway.
Stop shooting motherfuckers.
I agree that I think this is going to be the worst. Like, one of those things where it's like, it's kind of bad that we're going to lose a guy that has the most knowledge in the fight game right now. Mm-hmm. Because, kind of what Fred is saying, I mean, he looks at fights, he looks at every organization, he's the guy that just finds these gems hidden everywhere, and he goes, hey, that guy has something that I see, because I've seen it so many times, and he brings them in, and, I mean, he makes these guys into these just great, fighters, competitors, and everything. And his job has solely always been to find the guy to beat the champion. His job has never been to make money fights, to make the most exciting fight. No, his job has always been, and he's, one of the only interviews I think I read about him was his only sole job is to make a champion and then find the guy to beat that champion. And he's done that so well ever since, since I can remember. I mean, one of the main examples is that Anderson Silva Chris Weidman fight. A lot of people were shitty on Chris Weidman.
Yep.
And they were like, why? Why give him that fight? Why not put him against Chael again? Or why not do this? Why not do that? And then Chris Weidman goes in there and just puts it on Anderson Silva. Sorry, Nick, but that's what happened. But I mean, that knowledge, that level of knowledge and that passion for the sport is going to be gone. And it sucks. From what I was reading around on the internet and snooping around, I think they said that he's retiring. So,
yo, listen, sorry to cut you off. I was just going to make that point. I tell you what, they better not let him go to Bellator. All these other pricks can go to Bellator. I'll bet you Joe Silva don't go. I'll bet you they fucking killed Joe Silva before they let him go to Bellator, Jack.
Put a hit on Joe Silva. That's fucked up.
He ain't going to Bellator.
The thing about it is with Joe Silva, it runs just a lot more deeper than, he's basically responsible for, putting on some of the most fantastic fucking MMA fights that we've seen for the last, 12 years, 10 years, how long you've been watching the sport. But he's got a great relationship with all fighters. I mean, top tier guys down to the, the up and comers. So I've heard a lot of fighters say that, they like to deal with Joe rather than they like dealing with Dana or with the Fertittas when the Fertittas were involved. But I think a lot of this has to do with the Fertittas parting ways and them, doing their thing. I think Joe just kind of wants to make that transition as well and do something different. But it's going to suck when he's going to be out because we're going to see the effects of it in the matchmaking, like I said, in the relationship with fighters, discovering new talent, just lining up these fucking killer bouts over and over. And, the way it's going, the way the UFC is looking right now, they're not going to miss a week, going forward. They're going to be a card every single week. We need Joe Silva in that position or somebody with that type of fight knowledge and that passion for the sport to continue that trend. So I think a lot to it has to do with the Fertittas not being involved. Dana's there for a reason. We all know that. But there's been a lot of figureheads or certain people that have left the sport, like Stitch Duran, Burt Watson. You know, they've had minor effect, but this is going to be a major effect, and we'll see it over time.
Minor
as
effect.
hardcore.
Matt,
listen.
Unfortunately,
listen,
I think the Cutmen. I mean, you know, losing Stitch was a big deal. Burt Watson in the back, that was a huge deal. I mean, listen to all the fighters that were just so pissed off about that, man. I mean,
the relationship.
It sucks that this whole organization is changing with all these guys that, you know, the fighters are so comfortable with, and, you know, they have this rapport with them. I think it's just going to be bad. And plus, you know, I don't want to say anything bad about Sean Shelby because he does a great job, but is he going to be able to deliver, you know, those higher weight classes the way that, Silva has been doing, you know, these last couple years? I don't know, man. I kind of wonder who they're going to put in that position to make those fights at this point.
Yeah, that's gonna matter a lot. Who that person is going forward, man.
Yep.
That's detrimental to you know, the integrity of the sport, kind of. What the fuck? But listen, we just got new owners, man. Everybody likes to complain about Dana White and the Fertittas and shit. But I think we might end up looking back a few years from now and being like, fuck, you know, the UFC just got bought by the movie industry.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And now guys like Joe Silva. Joe Silva's a real martial arts head. You know what I mean? He's a real fight head. Who knows who replaces him? I mean, it seems like these guys are passionate about the sport. But let me ask you something. Do you think that these guys that own the sport now would have went as far as the Fertittas and Dana White did? $45 million in debt?
Nope.
Not in the beginning, man.
Nope.
Now it's the gravy train. So now it's like, sure, let's fucking rewind back to fucking 1992 and let's see who would be willing to put out $44 million for MMA. I don't think it would be these cats.
They would have sold the UFC. Like, remember the Fertittas were thinking about it, and then Dana White convinced, like, no, just chill, let's keep it going, whatever. Guaranteed. Like, the movie industry is a bunch of, you know, big money motherfuckers. They're about, you know, returning an investment now, not fucking 20 years from now. You know what I mean? So they would not have been anywhere near as patient as the Fertittas were.
You know what, guys?
Listen, I gotta go, and I have to go real quickly. I'm gonna make one more point. I gotta go. But I think what this might ultimately end up doing is essentially turning MMA into boxing. Think that a lot of the lower fighters and the guys that are kind of like Carlos Condit, Damian Maia types now will lose a lot of luster, and the UFC will become Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey and John Jones, and basically, you know, 4 to 8 stars, and it will revolve around those fights, and everything else will be completely meaningless. Right now, we can break down whole cards and have shows breaking down the shitbird fights because we all know who they are and we care. I think that part of it might start to fade away. All right, and I got to go. I'll holler at y'all boys next week.
Have a good night, man. Thanks for coming on.
Later, friend.
Sir. Later, boys.
All right, well, here's the thing, and we got to clear this up before you know, everyone starts talking about Joe Silva. Joe Silva handles lightweight and up. Sean Shelby handles featherweight and down, right? So the assumption is that Sean Shelby's going to take over everything. First of all, that's a shitload of work, right? There's no way they just hand it to Sean Shelby. That's way too much work for one guy. Way too much, right? Joe Silva couldn't handle himself. They could be Sean Shelby. Now, the other thing is the way Joe Silva, look, the only people that are happy Joe Silva's retiring, managers. Joe Silva is a very heavy personality. He takes no shit. You know what I mean? He will tell you to go fuck yourself if you fucking fight him on anything. If he says, look, I want we got plans for your guy at this pay-per-view or this on this card against this guy. You even fight him a little bit on it, he'll tell you to fuck off. And he'll mean it. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys. So if they bring somebody in, it's going to change the dynamic by, like, dramatically, not just a little bit, dramatic change in dynamic in how things are done as far as fight negotiations and such. Because just like you guys were saying, fighters would rather deal with Joe Silva than Dana White. So is Dana White going to take over lightweight to heavyweight with all the shit that he's doing, that he's already having to handle? I don't think so. So it's going to take up, maybe there's somebody we don't know, maybe there's a name out there that of a matchmaker that they could definitely pick up that might not be as good as Joe Silva now, but with some work in the next year or two, he could become something like him. It's possible that guy's out there, right? But Jesse was making the point of the guys that are no longer in the UFC. You know, what's his name on the besides Stitch? The other guy you mentioned, Jesse?
Oh, Burt Watson.
Burt Watson. Thank you. I keep forgetting his name. Burt Watson leaving was important to the fighters, very clearly. All right, and to the fans too, because Burt Watson was that guy. You know, we rolling and all this other shit to the fighters, but Burt Watson was also the guy that said, hey, you know, at the weigh-ins, like, hey, you come here, this is the spot, weigh in over here, right? Now they got some fucking whoever the fuck in a blue shirt every time. Yeah. We don't know who the fuck that is.
A different guy every time, yeah.
Right, little by little. First of all, okay, right here, Dave. Name an NFL ref. Go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. If I told you back in just a couple years ago when Burt was there and Stitch were there, it's like, Jesse, who's that guy? Burt Watson. Okay, who's that guy? Stitch Duran. We're losing that connectivity, that little bit of like a familiarity and connectivity to the sport that we love, and to the biggest brand, the biggest promotion in that sport. We're losing it little by little. You know what I mean? And now Joe Silva's going. You know what I mean? When is Sean Silva going to go? When is Joe Rogan going to go? When is Dana White going to go? You know, so on and so forth. It's going to turn into the NFL. It's a bunch of fucking names with no faces, and we're just going to be just nothing.
Okay. On that point, I have 2 points to address real quick. One, to close off the Benson-Henderson fight. Mm-hmm. Do you think Benson is happy with the deal that he has? Because if you look at his disclosed payout, it was like $67,000. So less than what he made in his last 2 UFC fights, I believe. So, and that's in a win. I mean, he maybe got sponsorship money, but to me, that kind of seems like not enough money for what he's, you know, he kind of lost it going with the UFC. You know, maybe he wasn't getting paid by Reebok, but he was getting, you know, a higher paycheck from the UFC. My second point is, regarding this whole thing, how you're talking about, you know, the sport turning into something different, I recently got an email, and I don't know if you guys have seen it out there, that this new corporation, I guess, or organization has started up, and now they're introducing the MMA, World Cup.
Huh?
And so I got in contact with the guy. I think he's he was one of the owners of World Series of Fighting in Canada. Mm-hmm. Do you remember how they had that merger before? Because it was like 2 World Series of Fightings or some crap. I don't remember the details, but anyway. So basically, what is going to happen with this thing is they're going to do next year a 64-man tournament over the entire year, and at the end they're going to crown 8 basically champions, world champions basically. And they're going to try to get like pretty much everybody to participate. Organizations, countries, they're going to try to make this into kind of like an actual like soccer World Cup. And so I kind of think that these things like that, like the MMA World Cup, like Combates, like World Series of Fighting, you know, these smaller organizations, small things that are happening, I think that's what's going to keep us, you know, kind of in that old school feel of MMA.
Right.
And the UFC is going to become that big product that, you know, just the big guys go to, that we watch it, you know, we pay the money to watch them and stuff, but, you know, that's where the big leaguers are. And, you know, I think we're going to have to really massage these little organizations to keep them alive and, you know, keep it exciting. And I think that's kind of where the sport is going. You know, all these guys are leaving, and, you know, we're missing all, like Eddie, you were saying, that connection. And I think we're going to have to forge connections in other places. But I don't know what you guys think about that MMA World Cup. To me, it sounds a little, I don't know. It seems like it's going to be difficult to try to get, you know, the UFC, Bellator, all of them to lend their guys out to, you know, fight.
Really impossible.
You know. But like I said, I was talking to I emailed the guy back and forth. I think his name is like Darren Owens, I think, or Owen. Mm-hmm. I think so. I don't remember, but yeah. So I mean, it's one of those interesting things. I mean, I'm pretty excited to see what kind of names they come up with. I mean, because from what he said, they're not going for amateurs; they're going for the pro athletes. You know, so we'll see how that goes.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, and a perfect lead into what I want to talk about next. I kind of wanted to run it by Kirby before he got out. We talked about it a couple times on the show before, and possibly Joe Silva heard us talking about it, because now there is talks about a middleweight tournament actually taking place, UFC 205. So I think it's got Luke Rockhold versus Yoel Romero, Weidman against Jacare. So I have heard that as recent as yesterday, Luke Rockhold, his interview, he said that, it's pretty much up in the air, and if they pay him accordingly, he's going to take the fight, and it sets up, like we were talking about, a true, champion at the middleweight division without us still knowing. We'll know the outcome of Bisbee and Henderson in about a month's time. What is it, October the 3rd? Is that fight scheduled for?
Yeah, I think so. 204.
So
204.
Yeah, we'll know soon enough who's taking the title or taking the gold up in Manchester. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool hearing that there's actually talks of that middleweight tournament taking place on such a big card, MSG. So I'm hoping Joe Silva, if he's leaving the UFC, he's going to go out with a bang and give us a nice middleweight tournament, a stacked MSG card, stacked ass New Year's card, and a bunch of fights along the lines in the month of December. So that seems like a great scenario for Joe Silva to be on his way out, because it seems like it's like towards the end of the year he'll be stopped doing the matchmaking.
Yeah, the word is that he's going to be gone by the end of the year. Real quick, because I want to talk about what Jesse said about Benson. What I've heard is that Benson's contract was going to pay him more based on the fact that he was coming in to basically be the champion. He didn't win that fight. He's not the champion in Bellator, so he's not going to get paid as much as he thought he was going to. So I think Benson's kind of getting a little bit of regret on that part, and so now he's going to go fight Michael Chandler for the belt. Maybe that'll help his contract or not. I'm not sure, what's going on with that, but that's what I heard about Benson's contract.
You know what though? That's basically the same offer that the UFC gave him. I mean, if you remember, his whole complaint was, well, yeah, they said if I become champion again, then my money will go up. But yeah, like when are they going to give me another title shot, or how am I going to get that shot? Yeah, but you have to win the fights to get that shot too. And if you're losing the fights, they're not going to give you that shot, but you're still getting paid good money, So I don't know. When I saw that, I was like, ooh, I hope he wins the championship, because if that's what they're paying him just to fight, that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, that's weird. That's the weird part. Now, I'm talking about what Dave was saying right now with a middleweight tournament. I like the idea. You get a true contender. I like how they do this whole tournament, and at the same time, it's kind of like a big fuck you to Bisping, right? Like, no one's talking about Bisping whatsoever. Nobody's saying jack shit about Bisping. It's all about Luke Rockhold, Chris Weidman, Jacare, and Yoel Romero.
I like those fights, though. You can't go wrong with those.
Oh, those fights are no, don't get me wrong. No, I can't wait till UFC 205. If that's what happens, cannot fucking wait to see that card, right?
Hey, and then add Cowboy and Lawler on there too, and you got.
Dude, if that's a thing, I was watching that podcast, dude. When he was talking about, we can't talk about that fight, and Rogan was doing this shit right here, I'm like, it's gotta be Lawler. It's gotta be Lawler. There's nobody else. Like, nobody else, unless you throw Condit with their team, it's not gonna happen. But or Nick Diaz against Cerrone, I don't think so. Nick fucks him up. It's if you do Cerrone Lawler, I'm gonna lose my shit. That is it's just a retarded card. Like, we don't even have a main event for that card, right?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Because you imagine that those two middleweight fights, Cerrone Lawler. Throw whoever the fuck you want in the fifth fight, and a title fight as a main event. Like, that is a stacked goddamn card.
Throw Carlos Condit and Tim Means on there while you're at it too.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that fight. Tim Means is a tough motherfucker, and Condit can lay out some punishment.
Yeah, it's getting close.
So we're guys on there, huh?
Yeah.
No, we're getting close. They got to get a main event for that MSG card soon enough, and it's either going to be, Conor McGregor. It's going to have DC. I don't know who it's going to be. There could be 3 title fights. They might try to do the 3 title fight thing again, possibly.
It won't be Ronda. I'll tell you that much. I don't think she's coming back ever. But.
Hell no.
Dave's trying to put Lando on that card too, I bet.
I saw that. Hey, look, he might get a fight to that. Look, you want to make
get that MSG card. Yeah, he could. He told me about that.
I throw him on that prelim card as the featured prelim with someone else that's gonna bang with him, and have that kick off the not kick off the pay-per-view, but be like your featured prelim on FS1, and get everyone revved up. Get everyone revved up for the main card. That would be legit.
Because, UFC Mexico stacking up nicely as well, too. We heard about Marcin Howell being signed to the UFC. He's going to be taking on Diego Sanchez. So, yeah, absolutely. They also got, who's it? The other fight they booked, Jorge Masvidal and Calvin Gastelum also fighting on that card. So, Mexico's stacking up. I was actually listening to RDA's interview. I don't know, Jesse, if you caught it. He's pretty much just said that he's super focused just on getting back, into his own. He wants to go down into Mexico and just shred Tony Ferguson, and It's something to where, you know, if he's gonna be, you know, the focus RDA, and he's gonna go down there like what's his training partner did a month ahead, Verdum. He's got to do that because that fight's gonna be difficult. He's gonna be fighting Toby Ferguson. He's gonna come straight at him. He's gonna have to have that cardio, and I think that's a fucking super exciting fight. I'm looking forward to that matchup.
Yeah, you know what? I like what RDA. Someone was talking about RDA is like not back to the drawing board, but he's already back in the, like, you know, kind of back in the lab, fixing the mistakes he made against Alvarez, and you gotta like that about a guy like RDA who was a dominant 155er. You know what I mean? Until this last fight where he got dominated and finished, you know, he's still, you know, people forget because of the broken foot. Look, he was a busted foot or a bruised foot, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call his injury, from getting a huge fight against Conor McGregor, from possibly being the guy to knock out Conor McGregor, right? Instead of being Nate Diaz, he took his payday, he took his shine and all that, and good for him and everything. But RDA should have been the guy in there. Now RDA misses out, he fights Alvarez on Fight Pass and loses his title. So now we get to find out RDA's resolve, in my opinion, right? We get to find out what RDA is really made of. Is he a guy that goes, oh fuck, whatever, I lost out on it, or like he's like you know, the people are saying, is he back in the lab, reshaping himself, you know, changing a few things, fixing the holes that he has in there, and then maybe come back and put on a baller ass fight against Tony Ferguson? That'd be legit.
And it's just the fact that he put out Cowboy the way he did. I mean, a lot of people were like, man, look at Cowboy, how he's shining. You know, look at what he's doing now. So absolutely, a lot of credit to RDA. I mean, he fought a fucking tough Eddie Alvarez on that night, and those guys fight, 9 times that, or it'll be, if they fought 10 times, it'd be like 5-5, I think, if those guys got at each other that many times. But RDA is one fight removed from being the champ. Against Ferguson. Ferguson should have technically already been, you know, in a title fight, but there's a couple of those guys on that list, and Max Holloway's at the top of it. There's just a few of them out there. I mean, it's really interesting. Yeah, Damian Maia is really, really fucking high on my list. He's pretty much number one on the list right now. He's surpassed Max Holloway somehow, but he's there.
I tell you what, we actually watched it on my phone. The Maia Condit fight right before we started jiu-jitsu today. And you can see like everyone's smile. It was smiles from like ear to ear from everybody on the mats. They were just like, "Fuck yeah, Maia!" It was like Jiu-Jitsu community won. It was weird as shit, right? I never seen anything like it.
Let me tell you something though. The thing that I didn't get to chime in on that fight, and I'll tell you what. The thing that worries me about throwing Condit back in there is the fact that he says that he was rocked, and that's why the choke went in.
Yeah,
and everything.
I forgot about that.
So the fact that he got rocked by a punch that, I mean, I looked for that punch. I looked for a hard punch, and I couldn't see a hard punch. I saw maybe like a kind of like good punch that Maia put out there, but nothing that before would have rocked Condit like that. So I don't know, maybe Dave, you know that maybe he got concussed in this training camp or something that, you know, kind of made him vulnerable to that. But hearing that out of his own, like from him, just makes me believe that his heart is probably not in the sport like it used to be. He wants to compete, he wants to win, but I just don't think he has it in him to really, like he said, to be at the top, you know. And I think it'd be better for him to kind of step away if that's the truth.
Look,
yeah, somewhat. Yeah, I agree to that somewhat. I think, Carlos is pretty much like what he said post-fight. That's generally Carlos. Carlos is not going to lie. He's the natural-born killer. He's known. He's put on fantastic fights. He fought George St. Pierre at the height of his career. Was 3 seconds away from taking the title. I think Carlos has still got some fight in him. He's in the top 10. I hate that the fact that I feel that this bout with Maia was forced on him somewhat. I don't know if that was the ideal matchup for him. I think there could have been other bouts that he could have taken, but it's Carlos Condit we're talking here. He wants to fight the best. He's only lost to the best. You can say what you want about him being 4-6 or 2-4 in his last 6, so it does not matter. He's fought the best of the best in his career. So I remember watching Carlos Condit at a casinos 100 miles here out of Albuquerque 10 years ago. So followed the guy's entire career. He's a fantastic fighter, one of the best there's ever been. Like I said, he's got fight left in him, but that Damian Maia fight really fucked him. He spoke nothing but the truth in that press conference. But coming off of 2 devastating losses like that, it's going to be tough to see what Carlos decides, because he said he's got to talk to his family, he's got to talk to his manager, and I think Greg Jackson will make the final call. and what he does next in his career.
Here's the thing about it, though. Real quick. Here's the thing about it. It's that Lawler fight. Every time that Condit said when Condit said, "I don't know if I belong here anymore. I don't know if I belong at this level." Everyone else that I've talked to, every time I see something on Twitter about Condit, my mind goes back to that Lawler fight. He left a giant part of him in that fight. Huge part. Him and Lawler both. I mean, you just saw Lawler get knocked the hell out by Woodley.
Of course. Yeah,
right? They both. These are two. We're talking. Focus on Condit, right? But those are two guys that are warriors that have gone in there and left parts of themselves every time they step in the cage, right? But Condit took a real he got maybe I never seen Condit take the shots that he took that he took from Lawler. You know what I mean? And you can say Nick Diaz, but Nick Diaz peppers you with 50% shots, and then he goes with you with 100 when he hurts you, but he didn't hurt him that much. Lawler goes in there with bombs the entire time. Woodley goes in there with bombs and he busted his knee. I mean, it's like every time with Condit, it's like something. There's always something that happens to the guy, either bad luck or whatever. But he left a giant chunk of himself in that cage with Lawler, and I think we're seeing the result of that. I legit think that's what it is. I don't think it's anything else. I don't think he's lost passion. I don't think he's gotten worse skill-wise. I don't think his body, the fact that he's getting older, that his body can't handle it. I think legitimately he left part of himself in that cage with Lawler, and it's definitely affecting him. Definitely Lawler too, but in my opinion, I think it's definitely affecting Condit. And now he's starting to question himself: do I have what it takes to get back in there?
I agree with you, Eddie. And it's no disrespect to Condit. I mean, when I heard that Condit was coming into the UFC, I was one of his biggest fans. I was like, watch this guy. I told my wife, I was like, watch this guy. Follow this guy because this guy's a different type of fighter. His skills were just so unique at that point. But I think my passion for these certain fighters is what drives me to kind of push them out the door more than want to see them fight again, because due to the fact that I don't want to see Condit, get laid out like Lawler did. I think Lawler, he takes a little bit of time off and he comes back in there, he'll be fine. But Condit, on the other hand, he's been through so many, just so much, and being in that mindset where you're thinking, okay, I'm done with this, I should move on. Okay, I'll come back and do this again. And then, kind of getting rocked with a punch that, like I said, it just didn't seem like anything. It just doesn't seem like it's a healthy choice for him at this point. And I'd rather see him step away, even if it is on this crappy loss. I'd rather see him step away and, take a different role than watch him go in there and, get Chuck Liddell'd or something, where, you just see it. You just see it in the fight and you're just like, oh, man, this is one fight too many. Or Randy Couture or any of those guys that have gone out that way, you just don't want to see that. And I don't want to see that out of him.
Yeah, the self-awareness. Condit is definitely self-aware. And, I mean, where he's at now, like I said, I think the final call would be definitely his family, his wife. I know Condit used to make a ton of cash outside of the octagon, the sponsors, six-figure range before the Reebok era. So Condit can actually venture into doing a lot of other things besides fighting and still be well off. He's still the king of Albuquerque. I think he's still going to get a couple fights out there. I don't think we've seen the last of Carlos. So I'll be keeping updating with a lot of his training partners and see what's the future holds for the Natural Born Killer. Absolutely.
Real quick on Condit. Okay. And you guys, you both have favorite, NFL, NBA, whatever teams, college football, whatever you want to call it, right? You have that, right? And I'll give you an example. Obviously, I'm a Cardinals fan. Emotionally invested. I mean, Sundays for me are heart attack days. Like, I'm losing my every fucking play from game 1 to game 16 to the playoffs, whatever. I'm losing my fucking mind, okay? Because I care so damn much. With combat sports, I don't have that connection to fighters very much, except with a handful of guys, okay? And I'll give you just a few of them. The Diaz brothers, Cain Velasquez, and one of them that's always been in that list is Carlos Condit. And the reason of that is because this is a guy who goes in there knowing he could get messed up, knowing he could get possibly killed in the cage, and he still goes in there. He goes in there with a mismatch like Maya, knowing he has no takedown defense whatsoever. He still goes in there with a killer on the ground and gives no fucks. He goes in, right? We've seen this guy in wars with Nick Diaz, with Robbie Lawler, with the Dan Hardy fight. I'm a huge fan of that Dan Hardy fight. Like that's when I became a huge Carlos Condit fan. It gets to the point where you start caring, like legitimately caring about some of these guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Carlos Condit's one of them for me. The other one, BJ Penn was one for me too. Everyone shed a tear when Frankie Edgar fucked him up. Like, it was bad when Nick Diaz messed him up, but when Frankie Edgar messed up BJ Penn that last time, everybody shed a tear. There's no way that there was a dry eye watching that fight. You know what I mean? Because it was incredibly depressing to see a legend go down like that. So for Carlos Condit, I want to side with Jesse when he says, "Look, step away now when you can still talk. You haven't been concussed so much that you can't use, that you can't use words, that you're slurring your speech, or you have headaches all the time." But at the same time, I want to see this guy just go to war, because you want a Carlos Condit type of guy. You want that dude in there that you can cheer for, that that kind of like Nate Diaz said, kill or be killed. Carlos Condit goes in there like that for most of his fights. You know what I mean? So I respect the man a lot. I want to see him continue to fight, but if he and his family decide, hey man, it's time to step away and do something that's not going to knock your head off every single time, full respect. It's been a great career. I hope he continues, but if he doesn't, hey man, it's still one of the best to ever do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, Carlos has had a hell of a journey. Like I was telling you guys, he used to fight at casinos out here. It's one of the first MMA fights I ever seen, and Carlos was in a bloodbath, probably getting paid $500, for that fight back in the day. So I think now is where, he's really got to just make that decision. So it's not going to be an easy decision, but 40 professional fights, he's only lost to champions. I think he'll make the right call. I honestly don't think we've seen the last of Carlos.
I hope not, man. I really hope not. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we go?
I'm good on my side.
I was getting late over here, but anything else? We could keep going. I don't care.
Yeah, that sums it up. I think we hit all the topics I'd like to hit. That's perfect.
Right. Breaking the fourth wall, ladies and gentlemen. We don't give a fuck. That's what we do here. Anyway, all right. Well, obviously we have a card this weekend. It's a UFC Fight Pass card. Andrei Arlovsky, one of your boys. Andrei Arlovsky against Josh Barnett. Fight Pass only card. All right, hook it up. Get on your Fight Pass. You can get one of those HDMI cables from your laptop to a TV. Get it with your buds. It's a pretty good card for a Fight Pass card, to be honest with you. What else have we got? Joe Silva. Before we talked about that, I can't think of anything else. So.
I got some.
What up?
Giving MVP another. Fred's not on the show, man. They're giving MVP another tomato can.
Who?
Can't think of the guy's name. They announced it over on the Benson Henderson card. He's fighting some other guy that he shouldn't be fighting, but I can't even think of his name right now. So
give him Rory. Just give him Rory already. God damn it.
Yeah, so I know Fred would have been. I would love to hear what he'd have to say about this one, because he's the one saying no more cans. But here we go, and it's fucking on a pretty big card too. So it's on the title, like it's on the Chandler Benson title shot on that card. Yeah. So
is that? Do you know where that fight's gonna be? That event?
I am not sure, but I'm
bet
hoping that guy drops out. The MVP opponent, if he drops out, then he'll have a real fight, hopefully. So. Maybe.
Look, I still want to see. Look, Rory's not going to fight till 2017. By the way, real quick, did you guys watch any of those Bellator videos? Those like the press conference videos and like the behind the scenes ones?
Caught a couple of them.
Okay, Rory looks so uncomfortable. Like he looks like one of those guys like a kid that made a choice. It's like, oh yeah, fuck it, we'll do this. Like we'll go on that roller coaster or the Tower of Terror at Disneyland. And then when he's on the ride, he's like, I fucked up. Like, he had that look on his face the entire time. And I'm like, oh, shit, I think Rory fucked up. I think Rory knows he fucked up. I hope he didn't. I hope he's getting paid. I don't know the details of his contract. But if it ends up being like a Benson Henderson contract situation, he fucked up. I don't care what. And by the way, one of the reasons he gave for leaving, it's Reebok. Reebok doesn't let you be an individual. Okay? Yep. Like, I agree. Like Reebok fucked things up badly, but that's the reason you left, dude. Come up with something better. Won't you? Like, something better than I couldn't wear the clothes I wanted to wear. Like, come on.
Yeah, he's sort of feeling the Rampage Jackson effect. Remember when Rampage went over there? It's sort of the same thing. He knew he fucked up, but he was still praising Bjorn Rebney for paying for his knee operations and getting his knees back from Johnny Bones fucking stomping him in a couple of years back. But then again, he went to the UFC and said, "Hey, I'm in the right place," and we haven't seen him since. So.
Well, he had the contract issue with Bellator, and now he's back. He has to fight for Bellator until he finishes his contract. So, Rampage is a joke. All right, I gotta go. I'm hungry as fuck. I kind of got back from jiu-jitsu training. Just in case, for anyone wondering, Just for the fact that we started late. We had technical difficulties. We've got those fixed for sure. I got to figure out what the fuck Google's doing with the logins. Like, come on, man. If the guy has a password in the username, fucking let him in already, all right? And two, the reason for that, the reason Dave is more likely going to be hosting this thing for at least the next month. I have a jiu-jitsu tournament on October 8th and 9th, obviously here in Phoenix, and I am in training camp. I'm walking around at 206 right now. I'm going to be competing at heavyweight, which is, I think, for no gi. I'm doing both gi and no gi. And no gi, the limit's 203 pounds, and for gi, the limit is 207.5 or something like that. So I got to cut down, but I'm also rolling, training, learning every day, just trying to get prepared. I'm doing strength and conditioning every day, and then right away going to jiu-jitsu. So I'm super busy with that. And Wednesdays, unfortunately, is when what they call competition class is when the master of the school gets together with everyone that's competing soon, and put together game plans and work details. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. So we'll be working out, figuring out how to get this done. But that's kind of what happened tonight. So regardless, thanks for watching anyway. This will be out tomorrow on SoundCloud. This obviously is on YouTube already. You guys can rewatch this or send it to your friends and everything. Really appreciate the people that subscribe and share it. You guys are amazing. Please tell your friends about us. Subscribe, share. You guys are the shit. We love all of you. And again, you can follow Jesse at Spawat1983. Dave is at Dave's MMA Brief, also on ESPN Radio. And I'm at Elaw31. Pages at CrossBonesMMA, and of course the MMA Advocates. And that's going to do it for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone have a good night. I'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.